But first at 6, breaking news and arguably the greatest golfer in the world. Tiger Woods is in the hospital after a very nasty crash earlier today. His legs were torn up in this crash. As we look at these video images of his vehicle turned over off an embankment on the side of the road in Southern California. These are crews pulling that mangled ball of metal from the trees where the car finally came to a rest. As we look live now, California at 6, there is a news conference that is underway from the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. We are monitoring this news conference and want to bring you any developments on this case because, Sean, this really is the story of the day.
Let's listen in, Rick.
Good afternoon. I'm Joe Mendoza, captain of the Sheriff's Information Bureau. Thank you for coming to this press conference to discuss a traffic collision which occurred this morning involving Aldrich Tiger Woods. Joining Sheriff Villanueva is Lomita Station Captain James Powers and other members of the executive command staff. Also joining us here today is LA County Fire Chief Daryl Osby. Now I would like to introduce the Sheriff of Los Angeles County, Alex Villanueva.
Thank you, Captain Mendoza. Today at 7:12 in the morning, Lomita Sheriff Station received a call of a solo vehicle collision in Hawthorne Boulevard, north of Palos Verdes Drive. We arrived on scene at 7:18 a.m. and discovered the solo vehicle collision, and the sole occupant was, again, Tiger Woods. And deputies, at the time, they did not see any evidence of impairment, anything that of concern. Obviously, the life-saving measures that had to be taken for the occupant of the vehicle, and Chief Osby will speak to that regard. And it was a solo vehicle. Unfortunately, during the course of the investigation of this, there was another traffic collision that happened with people being looky-loos. But that, thankfully, there was no injuries associated with that. The vehicle traveled several hundred feet from the center divider at the intersection and rested on the west side of the road in the brush. Sustained major damage to the vehicle. You've seen all the images of that. And with that, our Lomita Sheriff Station will be conducting the traffic investigation, and it'll take from days to several weeks to get the whole thing together. Once the investigation is completed, we will provide a detailed report. It'll be available, based on Public Record Act request, and we will not discuss it any further after that point. But at this point, I want to introduce Chief Daryl Osby, LA County Fire Department.
Good afternoon. I'm Fire Chief Daryl Osby of the Los Angeles County Fire Department. At approximately 7:22 this morning, resources from Los Angeles County Fire Station 106 received a report of a solo vehicle accident at the intersection of Hawthorne Boulevard and Palos Verdes Drive North in Rolling Hills Estates. Upon arrival of the scene of the incident with sheriffs on scene, resources and personnel from the Los Angeles County Fire Department observed a single rollover vehicle incident with one person trapped. The person trapped was extricated by the Los Angeles County Fire Department personnel. Earlier, it was stated that the jaws of life was utilized to extricate the person trapped. It was later determined by our personnel that a Halligan tube, which is used for prying, and an axe was also used to pry the person free from the vehicle. The person was packaged at the incident in stable condition with serious injuries, and because of the fact that they needed to be extricated, they were transported to Harbor UCLA Hospital. Because of the extrication, and Harbor Hospital is also a trauma center. As indicated earlier, there's also a second vehicle accident with no injuries. Thank you.
And the vehicle involved is a 2021 Genesis. It's a mid-size SUV. Para español, a las 7:12 de la mañana en la calle Hawthorne, rumbo al norte, por la intersección de Palos Verdes Drive, hubo un accidente automovilístico de un solo vehículo donde el vehículo volcó varias veces y cayó a las orillas del lado oeste de esa intersección. Y el ocupante era el golfista Tiger Woods y fue
All right, we have been listening to a
removido
news
del
conference.
vehículo y entonces fue
A news conference out of
transportado
Southern
por los
California where
bomberos al
officials
Hospital
are
General
talking
en,
about the single car
Harbor.
rollover
Y eso
accident
es lo que
involving
tenemos
golf
en
legend Tiger
español. No hay
Woods
evidencia que
earlier
hubo,
today. Just a couple
algún
of nuggets that we learned
impedimento o
from
embriaguez
that.
de
We
alguna-
learned that there was no sign of any kind of impairment when first responders got to the scene and found the crash, meaning no drugs or alcohol or anything like that that might have gotten in the way of Wood's ability to operate that automobile. They say that he was in stable condition when they got to the scene with serious injuries that caused them to extricate him. He was stuck in the car. They extricated him using tools and took him to a local hospital where we are told he is undergoing surgery right now for multiple fractures.
They included that, Rick, that he was extricated from the car by using an axe, but there's new information that is coming from TMZ. There are reports that Tiger Woods may have possibly been speeding when he left a hotel that he was staying just moments prior to this wreck. These are questions that were shared during this press conference that the sheriff will have to address, but we'll continue to monitor that, go back to it as soon as we can. But let's go to Emily Gagnon now. You've learned brand new information.
Yeah, so Tiger Woods' agent, Mark Steinberg, he's the one who's been updating us on his condition throughout the day, and he says that Tiger Woods suffered multiple leg injuries. Steinberg confirmed Tiger's in surgery, adding, quote, "Thank you for privacy and support," end quote. After a single car crash, emergency crews used the jaws of life to free Tiger Woods from his car Tuesday morning.
The vehicle ran off the road, clean.
The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department says the golf great was traveling alone along this road near Rancho Palos Verdes when he lost control of his car.
So it wasn't like he was driving crazy or anything, it just was going with the force of the gravity.
I ride it quite a bit, car and on my motorcycle, so I know it really well. There's a sharp turn down here, a big bend right here, and there's a sand trap down there at the end, so I suspect he took this car too fast. It was easy to do.
Tiger's agent says he suffered multiple leg injuries requiring surgery. He underwent a 5th procedure on his back recently in hopes of competing in the upcoming Masters in April. Over the weekend, Woods hosted the PGA Tour's Genesis Invitational and spoke to CBS Sports about his road to recovery.
I'm feeling fine. I'm a little bit stiff. I have one more MRI scheduled so that we'll see if the annulus has scarred over finally, and then I can start doing more activities.
It's unclear what caused Tuesday's crash. Tiger, he was taken to Harbor UCLA Medical Center. Once we get the latest on his surgery, we'll definitely bring that to you. The LA County Sheriff's Department did say his injuries weren't life-threatening, but will they affect his career? That's the big question, Rick.
All right, well, we will have to wait and see. Emily, thanks very much for that.